Hey everyone, Blue Sicx here, and today I'm going to be doing a kind of a vlog because I've not done one of those before. Reason I'm doing this is because unfortunately I've not really had the time to do a main video, review style video. I was hoping to do kind of like the sort of thing, the sort of cards that come out this sort of year in main shops. That some are worth getting, some aren't, for beginners. And unfortunately, I haven't really had the time to kind of put a video together for that. So I'm going to be putting this out. Hopefully, this should be coming. I might be putting this out Saturday night, Sunday morning, and so there's not actually going to be a review out on Monday. So I'll be putting this out, and then later on next week I'll be putting out like a tarot card spread. So at least to kind of make up for the fact there's no main review. And if you're wondering what that little kind of deep breathing is, goes just behind me, sleeping in his bed. Fireworks going off, and well, he doesn't enjoy fireworks. So what I'm going to talk about is I was at a reading event yesterday. And yesterday's time of recording, and one of the people running the event asked me a very simple question: what got you started? Why do you how did you get into tarot cards? So I'm currently 31, and I was in college when I was about 17. I was in my first year of college, and I was kind of into spiritual stuff at that point, so I used to pick up crystals and that sort of thing. And I used to go into Waterstones every now and again to to look at what sort of books they had. And one day I went in there, and they had Titan fortune cards, and they'd been there for a while. And then something there just kind of made me go, get them, buy them. So I picked them up. They were about £10, and there were 32 cards in the deck. I see 32 or 36 now, I can't quite remember offhand. I don't really use them anymore. Anyway, so I picked those up, and I read the book, and it took me about 2 months to remember each card's individual meaning. And if I still use them today, they're not too bad. I'm still a bit rusty with some of the meanings, because the photo, the picture quality, the picture styles are quite bizarre. It's kind of like reverse negative with a colour filter over the top. They're very strange. They're currently out of print now, so what winds up happening is if you do come across them, they are quite expensive now. So I kind of picked those up and really got into using those. And then a little while later I picked up my first deck of tarot cards, which were the Mermaid Tarot, which I've now done a review on. And then a little later on I picked up the Egyptian Tarot, both from the Scarabino. And by that point I was already out of college doing my first job. And then what I found was I did the so I was about I was in my early 20s, 2021, and I did the mistake that a lot of people who don't quite get them do, and that was to use the cards to make a decision for me rather than getting me to make a decision by myself. So I wound up getting rid of them because my thinking was, well, because I wasn't making my own decisions, and they're not really you're not really supposed to use them to make decisions for you. They help you. They're supposed to help you on. They're supposed to nudge you in the right direction, but not to make you choose your own path, sort of thing. And then a few years later, for my 25th, one of my friends, name of Jane, bought me a pack of zombie tarot, and they're in a really cool box. I can't remember the company's name offhand at the moment, but look them up. Zombie Tarot, they are very good. Not for beginners, but intermediary, but we'll get onto that another day. And I really liked them. The artwork was really cool, and then I thought, I'll kind of get back into them. So I bought like the next, so I went into Waterstones and pretty much bought like the first pack that was there, and I didn't like them at all. And which is one of the other things about tarot cards, you get what you like the look of, because otherwise it's essentially a waste of money. And then what wound up happening was, I then thought, I realised I didn't like this particular pack, but really liked the Zombie Tarot. So then I thought, I might as well just get rebuy the Mermaids. So I rebought the Mermaids, and then over the years I picked up other cards, other decks, and I picked up some Oracle cards as well. I don't keep account of how many Oracles I own at the moment. I probably should at some point, but I use tarot because as a bit of OCD, I like things with structure, and it's easier to kind of understand. So obviously within the standard pack of tarot, it's 78 cards, and obviously each pack of tarot kind of does their some kind of do their own thing. Sorry, just got interrupted there for a bit. But as I was saying, some tarot have their own structure based off of the rider weight. The riders, as I've probably said before in some other videos, I kind of forget what I say now, is the riders are kind of the basis of what most other decks build themselves from. So some decks kind of do their own kind of semi-copy. Like you can kind of recognise the the message in the picture is pretty much the same, whilst others kind of do their own thing essentially. So what I found out over the years of just kind of collecting really, that some vary quite wildly, and the other thing about getting into tarot cards is that you find out you wind up becoming I mean, at least in my case, I'm quite a collector now. One of the reasons I started to do videos is because, one, I like talking about tarot cards with people who share the same interest. And it's kind of, well, I've got all these cards, I might as well do something with them, because not all the decks I own I read with, for various reasons. Some are just not really my jam to read with, and others you just kind of really get into. For example, one of my most recent purchases was the Everyday Witch, which is currently being used on my card of the week, card of the day rather, for this week, and we're also in the forecast I use. So what I've found now is that the cards I'm finding really helpful, and I do like to do them because it helps other people essentially. So that's kind of how I started. It's literally just kind of on impulse, and it's kind of gone from there really. Currently, if I don't count the ones that are on their way, I currently have 97 packs of tarot, and my collection will just keep growing. So yeah. I used to be a comic book collector as well. I've always liked to collect things anyway, and one of the things you find out about tarot is the more you look, you've got your two main companies, which is US Toys and Games and La Scarabino. They're the two largest that I'm aware of, at least. And I'd never consider myself an expert in like anything. So, but they're the ones I come across more often than not. And obviously, the more you look for them, the more interesting artworks and styles you find. So, I think I've got another 2 on their way. So, who knows? I might hit 99 before the end of the year. Fingers crossed. But yeah, Oracle cards are also quite interesting as well. As I've said in other videos, Oracle cards don't really have a structure. They're just quite loose, which works for me in some regards and kind of not aggravates me, but it's probably one of the reasons I don't have as many of those as I do with tarot. But that's kind of my thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. Now I don't and this isn't officially a book, this is kind of like a book of shadows, because what I like to do, because as I like neatness, I have a book, and this black book is pretty much filled with almost nothing but tarot card spreads. And so in here, for example, I've got some of the ones on my basic video there. So I mean, my handwriting is dreadful, so I do apologise. But yeah, can't really see it there. But there's some of the interesting tarot card spreads I've come across from different books or online, like the Trick or Treat one. I quite like the Trick or Treat one. I haven't used it yet, but it's always quite fun to come across other tarot card spreads. And but what I find is, with the amount of tarot card spreads I actually have, I only wind up using one, and one that's a structure, and other times, like yesterday, I find I just put out 10 cards, and that would be the reading, and the cards aren't necessarily representative of situations. It's all, here are 10 cards, here's kind of what's going on at the moment, here's what you need to know. So it's structured but very free, it's very loose. And of course, if there's a concept you have an idea for a tarot card spread, of course you can make up your own. And because there's no set rules to stuff like that, that's one of the things I've always asked. It's like, do you have to be like a pagan, or do you have to be a certain thing before you can use tarot cards or oracle? And the answer is no. As long as you want to use them and happy to learn to use them, you know, just go for it. If it's your interest, go. There's no restriction. There's no gatekeeping really. You just, if you want to use them, use them. You don't. There's no criteria. And yeah, and over the last few years, I've come across many interesting people who do reading, not just tarot, but various other forms, and it's all quite fascinating, really. So I think you've probably had enough of me rambling on for the time being. So I'm probably going to put out a tarot card spread video later on. By the time this video comes out, it'll be next week. This is just kind of make up for the fact there's no actual review this week. Unfortunately, I've not really had the time to do this, as I have, as I've got obviously I've got like 2 part-time jobs, podcasting with Nerdisms and Dem Drunk Blokes on their podcast channels. Look them up, they're very good, by the way. And yeah, so and unfortunately I've had a last couple of days of I don't want to say depression, because that's not quite accurate, because but just a kind of lot of days of lack of motivation. I'm a person with low self-esteem, and sometimes if you have a bad day, for me at least, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I have it the worst, but it's the fact that sometimes I just if something bad happens, it just feels like it just, you know, everything kind of piles on top, and it does kind of overwhelm me sometimes. I do suffer from anxiety as well, and I'm also an overthinker. So when you have anxiety and you're an overthinker, then it's, oh, this is bad, then this, and then it all just kind of snowballs. So that's kind of been an issue for me as well. But I want to try and get something out, just as a way to kind of go, you know, this is a new channel. This is something quite new. At time of recording, I've got 22 subscribers. I don't think that number's going to go up that much anytime soon, but you know, we've all got to start somewhere. So yeah, and also whilst I'm here, if there are any tarot cards that you want me to review, let me know. Leave a message in the comments, or send me a message on Twitter at Sicx Tarot. And if it's a deck I have, I'll try and see if I can do a review. Hopefully I'll still try and do a buyer's guide, as it were, to see what sort of cards do exist and what sort of ones are worth owning. In fact, I'll do one quickly now. Whilst this is what happens at Stream of Consciousness. One of the decks that are available at the moment are in the works, and one of the decks that are available is this. And they are, and it's a very strange concept because the cards themselves aren't good for beginners, which is the very strange thing. It's a very large box, and it has its book. I'm just trying to get this done quickly, actually. This is what happens when I kind of do. As some of you have probably seen, some of my videos don't tend to have a great structure, but you know, we're all starting off somewhere. So I should have planned this better. Right, so you've got your standard majors, and then I start work. I'm not going to go through them all, but that's the sort of thing you're looking at. So they're not directly rider likes, as I like to call them, but you kind of get the feeling in the picture and the understanding of what they are. But this is the reason why these aren't for beginners, is because with the minors they are just that. And the problem with that, you can't method read. And to method read is where you just look at the picture and pick out the details. You can't really method read with these. As I said, if you're good with numbers and numerology, you'll probably be fine. But something like this is not for beginners. But here's the weird thing. The cards themselves are not for beginners, but the book is. Because you've got your hardback book, that's in this little side bit here. But the strange thing about this hardback book, not only does it go through all of the cards, as they all books should, you also got tarot card spreads at the back, but it also tells you about runes. It also goes through all the runes, which are 25. Then it goes on about crystals, numerology, and then it also has the Chinese zodiac. Can't really see that. It also got the Chinese zodiac, which are symbolised there. Wait for it to focus. And it's also got the Western zodiac, which I think is quite interesting. Dream readings, how to read tea leaves, and how to read dice. And and it's got dowsing and power, aura readings. So the strange thing is, though the cards themselves are a bit rubbish, the book is definitely worth getting, and it's very odd. Sorry, I kind of did this as an impromptu, but obviously I would have done this a bit more with a better structure. But I just thought I literally had it at hand, so I thought I'd at least give you a taste of what I wanted to do. But then there is another larger purchase video idea I have anyway. But I wanted to show you those just because the concept is quite interesting, because the cards aren't great, but the book is worth owning. So they're very weird start. Now, these aren't a recent purchase. These are actually gifted to me. But these are available at the Works. The Works website. For the few of you who probably don't know, the Works is like a budget bookshop rather than the major one like Waterstones. Although I wouldn't be shocked if these were in if I found these in Waterstones. Shut that down there. But yeah, so hey, it's better than what I thought it was going to be. I've got managed to get a little something in there, but yeah. So as I said, there's it's always an interesting ride, I find, with tarot, and obviously people's opinions vary. Some people say to me, and understandably so, that some people don't like them because of the religious connotations, which is fine. You know, everyone, you know, you do you, whatever works for you. I'm not the sort of person who would tell someone that, you know, if someone says, look, I don't really like them, I feel very uncomfortable with tarot, I don't, you know, it's against, you know, it's kind of against my beliefs, then I'm like, fair enough, and I put them away. Other people obviously are skeptics, which is fine, because, you know, life's full of skepticism, warranted or not. You know, that's not my call. If but then that's life really. But yeah, so I will probably do a video later on in, next week to talk about a spread, see what sort of interesting spread we can come up with, and if there are any tarot that are around that you want me to do a review of, as I said, leave a comment below, or follow me on Twitter at Sicx Tarot, and send me a message there, or you can go on my website bluesixtarot.co.uk, and there is a contact page where you can just send me a message that way, and I can send you an email back. You know, just do whatever you want really. I don't have a Facebook page. I'm not sure if I'm going to yet. I'm not quite decided, because at the moment I've got about two Facebooks and 3 Twitters. So I don't want to make too much work for myself. So once again, if you found this video interesting, God bless you. I didn't really have any plan for this. This is just more of an apology for not doing a main review, and because time and my head's not been in the best place at the moment. So, but apparently I've been told Venus is in retrograde, which probably explains it. I had to have that explained to me, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I didn't know what it meant either, so don't worry. So as I said, if you like this video, that's great, and if there's, as I said, if there's any other sort of things you kind of want me to, any topics you want me to touch upon, let me know, and yeah, and you enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah, enjoy next week. You have a good one.